Hi, this is Bernardo Badillo, and welcome to the FSF PopCast.
The show that became the little show that could almost. Yep, that's going to be the name of our book.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. Just imagine the comfort you will give Red Shirt crewman number 108. He'll know that when he puts on the red shirt and joins Julio and his cousin Louis on their adventures, that he didn't leave his family destitute and without hope, because the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund has his back, and what's left of his Hugs for Thugs organization.
And now, a word from our show sponsor, Level Up Sabers. Their link can be found in the show notes.
All right, so our guest today has been involved in movies such as Sully, the brand new coming out, Emily the Criminal, along with television appearances on shows such as Weeds, Dexter, CSI Miami. He's had reoccurring roles on shows like Snowfall, Queen of the South, Animal Kingdom. I could keep going, guys, but he's got a ton of stuff on his IMDb chart. You're going to want to be sure to check that out. We are very happy to welcome Bernardo Badillo to the FSF PopCast. Welcome to the show, Bernardo.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and can't wait to answer some on the ongoing questions. Yes, let's do it.
There you go. That's right. We got some silly ones. We got some serious ones. We'll have some fun today. We'll share some laughs. All right, so let's get into it. So looking over your list on IMDb, you have spots that are dramas. You have some that are action themed, some that are based on true stories, and some comedies. It's clear that you haven't been pigeonholed, and you haven't played like one particular set role. You know, where this is, it's like, hey, what do we need to this guy? Well, let's call Bernardo. He can do that guy. You know, that's what he does. But when you're looking at potential roles, despite what the genre is, what are you looking for in a role for you to say, yep, this is the perfect role for Bernardo?
I think in the beginning, I just wanted to work. I mean, you know, you're just trying to get credits and have experiences and build up your resume. And now I think it's really shifted for me. I think now I'm trying to find great scripts, great material, things that I haven't done before. I know I'm jumping ahead, but I recently got cast in a show that's in English. I can't really talk about it too much because I had to sign an NDA, but I'm going to start shooting that show, and it's all in Spanish. All my dialogue is in Spanish. So this will be the first time that I get to do an English language TV show where my dialogue is in Spanish. So it's something new, it's something fresh, something that I haven't gotten to do before that people haven't seen from me yet. So for me, it's just about expanding what I can do, expanding what people think of me as, and also even just trying to get into more comedy, because I generally tend to get cast in drama or more serious roles. So now I'm really, you know, gravitating more towards comedy and really just, you know, finding also the humor in dramatic roles. I think that's been a key to not just the way in, but also my success, is that I always try to find humor in my drama. So I think it's a combination of things, but yeah, I look at what I can do differently, what I can bring that's new and fresh, and look at the script or material in a different way.
Excellent. That's a great answer. So is there one that you feel yourself gravitate to more than others, that you feel like this is a natural role or type of role or genre that you like to work in, where you're like, you know?
I will say that this role that I just did for Emily the Criminal felt the most like myself. I felt like I wasn't really acting. I felt like it was just my voice, my energy, my vibe, and it was written I just felt like it was written for me. And it wasn't, but I felt like it just felt so easy. And because it is drama, I felt like it didn't require me to stretch so much, because in comedy is a lot harder than drama. So it didn't require me to stretch, but I will say that I felt like I still brought something different or unique, because I did try to find some humor in there as well, but I just I don't know. I just felt like it fit me like a glove. So
I think it's always nice to hear when somebody has found a role that, like, just like you just described, where it's something that fits them and it feels like it's perfect for them. Because I think that as a viewer of that, I think that comes across on camera when somebody's comfortable in the role and they're part of that. It's not just somebody doing a job; they're really enjoying it. They're part of it, and that means a whole lot more to, I think, for the viewing experience.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that.
So I was interested in reading your mini bio on IMDb. I noticed that it says that you earned your Master's of Fine Arts degree, and then a week after moving back to your hometown, you were cast and you've been working ever since.
Yes.
So what advantages have you had because of that more extensive education in the arts, besides being cast almost right away and having steady work since then, I guess?
Well, when I moved back to LA from New York, my friend had hit me up because she was helping with some of the casting for the film, and it was a friend that I had gone to school with at UCLA in the theater program as well. So I had made those connections, and I think that's, if anything, I would say going to school not only taught me how to act and learn my craft, but also about building relationships. And I think Hollywood is very much about building relationships. Mm-hmm. So she, reached out to me and said, we have this movie that we're doing. I would love for you to come and audition. She wasn't the casting director, but she was helping facilitate that. And I came back, auditioned for that, did not get that part that I auditioned for, but they gave me a smaller role, which was a one-liner, and I became SAG because of it. And ever since I've been working. So I would say that, yes, I learned the craft. Yes, I feel like I have my own technique and the things that I do for each role. And they're different. They vary depending on the role. But I think the most important thing is having that community of other actors, performers, writers, directors, producers that you meet in school, because they're the ones that are going to be casting you in the future. They're the ones that are going to be, making the decisions. And so I think relationships are what I took away from my schooling experience.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. I can totally see that. Like you said, Hollywood is about connections and making sure that you have the connections to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, there was a director that directed me in a short at UCLA, and I had been cast in Queen of the South, and I did multiple episodes, and he actually was one of the directors of one of the episodes that I did. So he really, embraced me and really tried to showcase me as much as possible in that episode that he directed. So you just never know. And it was like, I don't know, like 10, 15 years later. So
that's cool.
Never know.
So now your role in Sully, you trained with a Navy SEAL to be able to portray the NYPD scuba diver.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did your training consist of? And tell us about that experience and what did you learn from it?
Okay. Well, I will say it was minimal. I'm not gonna lie and say that we trained for weeks on end, because it wasn't. But we shot part of it in New York and then part of it at Universal Studios on the lot in front of a blue screen in the lake there. I don't know if you've ever been, but they have a tram that goes through the back lot, and they have a blue screen with a lake. And so there, Jerry Ferreira, who plays my partner in the movie, we both went and trained and had like a mini, I don't know, a couple hours the first day, a couple hours the second day, where we wore the real outfits. So we wore the tank, the helmet, everything. We did exercises in the water. I don't know. We really just got in there, but of course we didn't dive from the helicopter. That was a stunt person. I wish. And just learned just different tricks and tips, because it does get really, really hot. Obviously, when you're in the water, it's a lot easier because you have that huge tank that's about 50 pounds, and you're shooting during the summer, and it's hot and it's sticky, and you're trying to walk with these flippers on set and trying to get to the water. So, but yeah, I mean, we just went through some drills and dove a little bit down in there and just practiced as much as possible and swam some laps and just tried to get comfortable. It was more about getting comfortable with it than doing any deep sea diving.
Right. And what did you learn from it?
I would say how hot those things are. And how tight. They were so tight. I mean, you could barely breathe in them. You were like constrained and constricted. So that was hard. When you're outside of the water, they're really constricting. Obviously, when you're in the water, you're fine. But when you're outside of the water, I was like, you're choking. So kudos to them, because it is not easy. Easier said than done, for sure.
And now I think there should be a children's book written about it called Bernardo the Baby Seal.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? That'd be incredible. I might write that.
Feel free to take the title. So it just that just seems to talk to me. Bernardo the Baby Seal. Talk about your anyway. All right. So in the bio that your rep sent us, it said the following, and I'm going to quote it because it is easier this way. All right. So it says, growing up, Bernardo considered himself dramatic and eccentric, participating in numerous school plays, pageants, singing, and dancing. So let's talk about your influences as a young man and what sparked your interest to get to the point where you considered yourself to be dramatic and eccentric.
I got babysat a lot. And so I was at different houses all the time because my mom was always working. And I just watched a lot of TV. That was sort of my escape. I watched a lot of telenovelas with my family, with my aunts and uncles and grandmas. I would just sometimes hide in the room and just watch a bunch of shows and movies. I was watching, Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 6 years old. I was Freddy Krueger when I was 7 years old for Halloween. I had the glove and the mask and everything. I mean, I just always gravitated towards films and TV and imagined that I would be doing that one day. I didn't know that it was a job. I didn't know it was called being an actor per se, but I just thought to myself, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. And I would go watch a movie, maybe even a TV show, and then I would go into my room and create all these scenarios that I would act out. I remember watching Curly Sue, the movie, in the theaters, and thinking that I would be in part 2 and that we would see each other in a New York street and have these dance numbers and all this craziness. And I was just like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, I'm going to do this. This is my dream. And I always felt like, I didn't come from a performing background, or nobody in my family was ever an actor, an artist. I come from a family of blue collar workers. And so they were not necessarily interested in the arts as a career. So I had to really just, go for it. And I'm sure they thought that I was a little crazy and nuts. And I always liked to perform and dance and be dramatic. And I was definitely a little bit of the black sheep of my family. So, and growing up Latino, it's not a common thing to always, yes, dancing, but not necessarily like wanting to be in the arts or, it's not a common thing, especially, growing up in the 80s. I mean, I think now things are changing, but before, in the past, it wasn't a thing. Especially when you have family members that are immigrants and they come to this country and they're trying to make a better life for themselves. They're not thinking about how are we going to get into that film or TV show to make a living, right? So that wasn't common, but I just said I'm going to do it. And luckily, my mom always believed. She always told me. She said, I had a dream that I saw you on a late night talk show talking to somebody, and I believe that you can do it. Actually,
that's awesome
about it. So I have yet to be on a late night TV show, but I'm working. I'm doing it. I'm performing. I'm getting to act, and I'm super lucky. So.
Well, I promise you, when I watch this, I'll watch it late night. So.
Perfect.
Well,
check.
Episodes are released at midnight, so
exactly, yeah.
Perfect.
So at 12:01 on exactly 12:01 on a Friday, you are on a late night. You're on a late night TV show, sir. Yeah. There you go.
Oh goodness. So, speaking of being young, I'm curious about your perspective of the arts. Mentioning that your mom had your back, that even though that wasn't necessarily what was expected of you, but she's supportive of you and she knows that you can do this. And especially with education in the arts, I have a daughter she'll be 4 next month. And so she loves to sing, she loves to dance, she plays drums like most little kids do, which is on par with animals from the Muppets, but she loves it and she's having fun. She's making up stories, she's singing her own songs. So with your education in the arts, what can I and what can other parents do to help children so that we continue to have these wonderful artists in the future and let them flourish?
I mean, I think it does start young in terms of if that's what they want to do. I feel like going to classes, singing, dancing, acting. I didn't have that luxury, so I would have loved to have started earlier than I did because I really didn't start working professionally till I was like 25. But that's because I felt the need to have to train, to have to work on my craft. So if anything, I would say maybe not have them work professionally right away, but start the process of getting them into classes where they're studying the technique and studying and learning, because I do believe that that creates longevity versus someone who just wants to be famous. You know what I mean? It's like, do it for the love of it. And if they love the actual act of dancing and singing and performing, then I feel like they will have a longer career versus someone who is just doing it because they want to be famous, right? So I think the discovery as they go along, as they get older, like, do you really want to do this, or is this not really something for you? And I think going to class, I think that's really, really important. So get those kids into class.
Awesome. I love that.
Great advice.
So we all have that one little thing that is close to our hearts. What project that is a little less known that is really close to your heart?
That's a tough question. Honestly, I would probably say Queen of the South. I'm not saying that it's not known. I don't know that it has the audience of maybe say like a CSI, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, that was one of the first experiences where I got to work with a predominant Latino cast, where they were the main focus, where they were not only in the cast, but also producing, directing, writing the show. The showrunner was Latino. The main director that I worked with was Latino. The DP was Latino. Alicia Braga is Brazilian, Latina, obviously, and she was also the executive producer. So for me, seeing that, I was just like, yes, this is how I envisioned the world to be and the arts to be, but knew that it was a challenge and didn't know how long it was going to take for me to see that around me. So for me, I think that experience was great. On top of getting to that season, they shot everything in New Orleans. So I got to travel to New Orleans and shoot there and go down to Bourbon Street. And I got to, I think, travel there like 4 times, I think, and just enjoy the shoot and enjoy getting to know these incredible castmates. And it was just such a great experience because I felt like they made me feel important and part of the cast, not just a guest actor in the cast.
Right.
So, and we would rehearse the scenes, which doesn't often happen. We would have, some pretty long rehearsals even before we started shooting, and they would be like, no, I need Bernardo here, and we want him in rehearsal, and we want this and that. So I felt included. I felt part of it versus just a guest. So
that's cool.
I would say that was an incredible experience for me.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor. Since 1982, Vital Signs and Graphics has been helping professionals with all their image, logo, and design needs. Perhaps you're looking for signs and banners, truck and trailer lettering, business cards, brochures, or other image and marketing aids. Vital Signs and Graphics in-house design studio has you covered. From logos to apparel, start to finish, Vital Signs and Graphics has everything you need to look and feel professional. Call Rick at 231-652-3300. He'll get you noticed. Welcome back to the FSF PopCast.
So today is August 12th. The day that we're speaking is August 12th. And you've got a couple of big things going on. So let's talk about the first one. So the first one is the movie Emily the Criminal. It opens today. And it's drawn rave reviews all throughout Sundance film festivals. It's got critics galore praising this thing right and left. Now, unfortunately, I have not had a chance to see this movie yet. I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm going to try and find a way to find it over this weekend and have a chance to sit down and watch it. I did watch This Fool a little bit today. And that one, I did get some laughs out of that. That was pretty funny. And I think Kathleen has a question about that one coming up. But let's talk about Emily the Criminal first. Now, that's with you, Aubrey Plaza. You play a character named Javier. Would you mind taking the audience through that show a little bit and, tell them a little bit about it, your character and what they should be looking for?
Yeah. So in the movie, Aubrey's character, Emily, is saddled with debt, and she has a previous felony charge. So it's been very difficult for her to get a high-paying job. And she works at a catering company. I am her coworker at this catering company. She does me a favor to cover one of my shifts, so I give her the number of my hookup. And the hookup is basically an illegal crime ring of dummy shoppers, where you get a fake credit card, a fake ID, and you go and purchase for them a big box item, maybe big screen TV. Then you go and deliver it, and they pay you $200 for it. As the movie goes along, she starts to get deeper and deeper into it, and insanity ensues. So, it gets a little crazy. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to ruin too much of the movie. But
Fair
I think her coworker, and I will say that she leaves me to start doing all these jobs, and I'm not happy about it.
All right. So where can people find your movie right now?
I know it's playing in across the country and a lot of the AMC's theaters. I know it's also playing in a lot of independent cinemas as well. But yeah, it's in theaters across the country, and I think it's coming out soon internationally. In case you have some international followers, I know Universal is distributing it internationally. So, but yeah, anywhere that you can go see a theater. A movie in the theater, please go and check out and see if they have it. But yeah, it comes out today, and I can't wait for people to see it. I love the movie, not because I'm in it, but because it's really good. So and Aubrey kills it. So
yeah, everything that I have read about the movie, it's I think the lowest out of 5 stars I've seen is 4. Yeah. Everybody's nailing it. Just like this is a can't miss. You have to see a movie. Yeah. So I am looking forward to finding it and getting a chance to watch it. So.
Oh yeah, please email me and let me know what you think. I'm
absolutely
curious. I'm excited.
Absolutely, we'll do.
I mean, I have to say that I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, so it's Audrey Plaza, Audrey. My brain is broken today. It has been a week, but it was I'm like, okay, so Aubrey Plaza's in this. I'm going to love this anyway.
Yeah, she's great.
But then legitimately reading the reviews about it and reading the synopsis, I'm like, this is going to be fun.
It is. It's a wild ride for sure. You're like, not because I'm in it, but even I watched it recently again, and we went to the premiere, and I was just like, and I already know what happens. I know what happens, but I was like at the end of my seat, I was like, and so I feel like I also watched it yesterday in previews with some friends, and the audience would be like, oh no, so they're like yelling and screaming and and laughing and it's not a comedy, but there are comedic moments within the drama. Mm-hmm. And what's great about this movie is that because Aubrey's known for her comedy, I think it's such a 180 in terms of her performance and the dramatic work that she does, and she kills it. And like you root for her even though she's an anti-hero,
Yeah.
Or heroine. Sorry.
That's so much fun.
Yeah.
So as Tim mentioned, today is August 12th, and that is a huge day for you because you also have your new show premiering on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
So please tell us about The Fool, your character, and why people should look at it.
So this fool is oh yeah, that's okay. This fool is this. So in the Latino community, we're always like this fool. Like that's just a thing that we say to be like this, this guy or whatever. We say this fool. So it's a very Latino centric show. It's about 2 cousins, one that just got out of prison and one that works at I think Hugs Not Thugs. And it's basically a reformation center for recently released prisoners, and it's like this odd couple dynamic. One of them is straight laced, the other one is like I said, just got out of prison, and I play their cousin because they're cousins. I play a third cousin, and I have beef with the one that just got out of prison. In the episode that I'm in episode 8. But I have a lot of friends that are in the show, Latinos that I love and that I admire. So, and then Fred Armisen executive produced the show. Michael Imperioli is also in it. I got to work with him. a
Awesome.
little bit. And it's a great, funny show. Like, even if it's not your type of show, like that you normally would watch, I think it's pretty funny. Like, it's just hilarious.
I was
Even
laughing.
just watching and reading the script and watching the other actors on set, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. It's just great. And like the reviews too have been great. I started to read some of the reviews today, and they love it. So I'm really excited for people to watch it. Yeah, and all the episodes are streaming today.
Yes.
Awesome.
Goodness, what's the Kathleen's brain malfunction is spreading this way.
You're welcome. It's
Yeah,
contagious.
apparently it is. Okay, so the straight lace character, I can't remember his name.
Chris Estrada.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so in the show, he's standing there and he's talking to somebody about, trying to come to in the first episode, he's trying to talk to him about coming on to the, and joining the organization. And he's showing the coffee mug. You get a coffee mug, like that was the sales pitch.
The selling point, yeah.
Yeah, that was the selling point. That was what going to get him to come to the organization. And he's trying to tell him about how he grew up in the streets and how he was out cruising, but in the cut scene, it's him on rollerblades.
yeah.
And how he's, how he was so cool and relaxed during a drive-by, but in the cutscene, he's hiding behind a car.
Yeah.
Wait, the parallel to real life is kind of hurting over here. Join us. You'll get a coffee mug.
Oh, perfect. I want that. But yeah, no, it's funny. I actually, oddly enough, like I auditioned for like 4 different roles on that show. So, and then I got this one. So I was like, all right. So I got to read a lot of the scripts, and it is pretty insane.
Yeah, I had found it to be quite amusing so far. So.
Oh, good. How far are you? Episode 1, 2?
I've finished episode 1, started episode 2 today.
Okay.
So in between all my other errands and helping out with my in-laws, that was as far as I got, but I'll be watching more later.
Yeah, no, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
I skimmed the first episode just before you logged in. So.
It's nuts, right?
It is.
It is an after
I gotta
bedtime.
go through and watch it. Yeah.
It is an after the kid goes to bed tonight. That is on
yes,
my
it
watch
is.
list.
Yeah. You might want to watch. It is TVMA, so you may want to wait until the tiny human has received her nights.
I need her to be unconscious.
Yes.
For sure.
So you had mentioned when you were younger, you watched a lot of TV and stuff like that. And our show, we talk about a lot of different fandoms such as Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, you name it, like all the stars that are in other stars too. Where do you, like, end of day, you're not doing anything, just relaxing, where do you like to hang your fandom hat?
I like Resident Evil. I just watched the new Resident Evil show. I loved it. It was so good. I was like, yes, they did that right. Because I watched a lot of the Resident Evil, let's just say, but they're not all good, or they're okay. But this show, they killed it. So I kind of like that horror, sci-fi. Alien is like one of my all-time top 5 movies of all time. Part 2, sorry, Aliens. James Cameron, bow down. So I kind of like, that's what I like. Like, even Terminator 2 is sci-fi horror in a way. So that's really where I like to live. Of course, like I can admire, the Marvel universe, and I go watch all the Marvel movies or whatever, but they're not my favorite. I like them and I can enjoy them and appreciate them, but I would say more of in the horror sci-fi genre. That's where I live. So watching Resident Evil, I was like, okay, they did that right. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I like.
Have you had a chance to watch the new Prey movie? The new Predator?
I am dying to see that. Everyone's talking about it. And I'm like, they say that's like the best Predator movie in years.
Yeah, I am. That's another thing that I'm hoping to watch this weekend. I have not had a chance to yet. I've read nothing and seen nothing but rave reviews about it. And so I'm really excited to see that. So.
Yeah, no, me too. I actually vividly remember watching the first one, Predator, like with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I thought it was just so genius when he can't see him, the Predator can't see him because he's in the mud, and I just like, yes, I love that. I don't know, I always grew up watching horror movies, and I was obsessed with horror movies. But then I started to get more into the sci-fi horror element of it all, and I was like, yes, this is I want to be it. So to answer your question from previous, I would love to be in a horror film or even a horror comedy. I love all of that.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
When I first saw the trailer for Prey, I didn't realize it was another Predator movie. And I was like, wait, is this the new live action Pocahontas? Like,
oh my gosh, that's funny. Wait, have you seen the Prey yet?
I have, yeah.
How is it?
I enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
So-
I haven't heard anybody that said that it was bad. So
Right. But I was like, well, if this is the live action Pocahontas, I'm in.
there might be soon.
All right.
See, I haven't really gotten into a lot of like sci-fi horror stuff. Like I don't know if I've actually ever seen any of the Alien movies. I might have seen the original, but like
Hold on, I'm looking for the eject button.
forever ago, right? I know.
All right, Bernardo, we are at a point in our show where we like to take our guests through a little bit of a quiz.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we don't warn you about this so that we can make sure you're surprised.
Okay.
All right, so.
And I am.
All right, this is a 4-question quiz. All the questions are multiple choice. Actually, no, your quiz is true or false.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, so it's 4 questions, true or false. If you get 3 of the 4 questions correct, we would like to send you this book that one of the other 2 co-hosts is going to hold up because I'm traveling
today.
Because I am traveling and I don't have it.
You didn't remind me before today.
You're right. I didn't.
I
That book right there. It's called Custodians of the Cosmos. It's written about a young man who wanted to join something quite like Starfleet from Star Trek, but not Starfleet from Star Trek, so we don't get sued. Anyway, or that the author, Drayton Allen, doesn't get sued.
No, this is not our problem.
But, okay, so that's your prize if you get 3 of the questions right. However, if you only get 2 of the questions or less correct, we take your picture, we make a meme out of you, and we put you in our 205,000 member Facebook group.
Oh, maybe I want to be a meme, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be in bad company, that's for sure.
I mean, not to belittle the book by any means, but a meme is always great.
There you go. All right.
Let's do
So
it.
this is 4 questions. The quiz is called "They Didn't Sully His Name." It's all about the movie Sully.
Oh Lord. Okay.
You can do this.
Did you use the word consequence?
No, I'm sorry. It's in the contract. I have to say it. If you get 2 or less questions correct, we make a meme out of you. We put you in our Facebook group, and that's the fun sequence.
Thank you.
There you go.
When you make up a word like consequence and then you don't use it.
I was wondering why he's waiting so long for me, and he's like, "Are you going to say it? Are you going to say it? Are you going to say it?"
Question 1. This is the first collaboration between Tom Hanks and Clint Eastwood. True or false?
False.
It was true.
Oh. Okay.
All right, 0 for 1.
What if I get all of them wrong? Oh my gosh. Okay.
We make multiple memes.
Okay, perfect. Well, I love a good consequence, so.
All right. Question number 2. This is the only role where Tom Hanks plays an aviator. True or false?
False.
That's correct, because he's also an astronaut pilot in Apollo 13.
Yes.
Sully Sullinger was not supportive of this film and wished it hadn't been made. True or false?
False.
Correct. All right, so 2 correct, 1 incorrect.
All right.
It's meme or book.
Okay.
The real Robert Rodriguez is actually in the film reenacting his helicopter jump. True or false?
True.
That is
That's
correct.
correct.
And you get a book.
Yay!
Oh, that was close.
That was close. But I knew the other one, so I was like, okay, those are really the idea.
Well, Bernardo, thank you so much for being on the show today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you and about your works?
Yeah, they can go to my Instagram, which is actor Bernardo Badillo. And then they can also go on my regular Facebook page, which is Bernardo Badillo. It is my personal page. So they can go check my stuff out there.
We will definitely link your socials so that our viewers and our listeners can go and follow the awesome work you've got coming out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll get to do this again soon.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. I want to remind everybody that subscribing is the single most important thing you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests like Bernardo Badillo here and funny moments for you to be able to listen to. So please subscribe. It helps out more than we can ever really tell you. And make sure you go check out Bernardo on his socials as well. You won't be disappointed. If, however, you are not happy with the content of our show today, please feel free to lodge a complaint with the head of our complaint department, Javier from Emily the Criminal. Look, sure, he starts off with credit card scams, but we're sure he has some other connections, if you know what I mean. So send in multiple copies of your complaint, because when he's shuffling around all that credit card information, the last thing you want is for your complaint to get lost in the shuffle. But we can promise you, if he sees it, someone's going to need new kneecaps.
Thanks again, guys.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bernardo.
Of course,
All
of course. Pleasure meeting you guys.
All right, guys, that's going to conclude us for the FSF PopCast. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the Contact Me link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.